Representative Thompson in debate.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I shared with you the words of Frederick Douglass before in this chamber, who said that I will work with anybody to do right and with nobody to do wrong. And this map is wrong. I shared with you Florida's history of poll taxes, that was wrong. And the history of literacy tests, that was wrong. Grandfather clauses that were wrong. Intimidation of African American voters, that was wrong. Violence, people having their homes blown up, people being lynched because they wanted representation, they wanted to vote, that was wrong. And this map compounds the problem, and that is wrong. This may be abstract for many of you, but it's flesh and blood to me, because I have worked with Carrie Meek, I worked with Alcee Hastings, with Corrine Brown, the three people who had to bring a lawsuit, by the way, to be the first African Americans since Reconstruction to go to Congress. And that was in 1992, 30 years ago, not ancient history. Last year, I went to the funeral of Carrie Meek. I had a chance to visit with Representative Robinson, Representative Woodson while I was in Miami. And a lot of people were there. Carrie Meek was eulogized by Congressman James Clyburn. Steny Hoyer spoke at her funeral, as did Joyce Beatty, the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. Frederica Wilson spoke at the funeral, and she reminded people of a time in the Florida legislature when Republicans and Democrats, blacks and whites, worked together for the good of the state of Florida. She told us about Carrie Meek and Don Gates setting up a system of hospice. And hospice was where Carrie Meek spent her last days. Blacks and whites working together. This is not abstract for me. This is flesh and blood. And I will not sit here today and dishonor the sacrifices, the struggles, all of the things that those individuals did to give us 3 seats in the United States Congress, and today we have 4. And this map, which is wrong, would take us to 2. We should not compound the problem. I also shared with you the words of Dr. King, who said that a man can't ride your back unless it's bent. And so I'm standing tall today, I'm standing straight today, and I will not bow to the ego, to the ambitions of one individual who wants to take us back. Now, it's not about the color of the skin, it's about the lived experience of people who understand that the poor will always be with us, as is said in the Bible. They understand that health care is disproportionately available in certain communities. They understand quality, affordable housing is not available in certain communities. They understand about Pell Grants and the need to fight for education in certain communities. They understand the need for economic development in certain communities. And so it's not about skin color, it's about lived experiences and bringing that perspective. As human beings, we tend to have the kind of, I guess, blindness that if it hasn't happened to me, it doesn't exist. And when you look at financial disclosures of people in the legislative process, you understand people come from very privileged backgrounds in Congress and in this body. And you need the perspective of people who are willing to go outside and to mix with the folks whose voices are not heard here in this chamber. And so you need African Americans in Congress. To the credit of this body, you all followed Tier 1 when you drew the legislative seats. We talked about the 30 seats that were established after the 2010 census, and you made sure that there was no diminishment, that there was no abridgment of equal opportunity to elect a candidate of their choice. Now, we didn't get any more than 30, but we didn't get less than 30. So why is it all right in this map to have less than the 4 that we had when we began? I want you to stand up. I won't bow. I'm hoping you'll stand with me. I hope you'll stand tall, because a man cannot ride your back unless it's bent. Thank you.
Representative Wilhite.